Oh my goodness, we're in the third Sunday of April already. Welcome to Let's Talk About You. I mean, we've just been on a roller coaster talking about the phenomenal ways of me reflecting back on growing up. Last time we had a great host from St. Croix talking about carnival and the intricacies of making costumes. And the one thing for me, because I don't usually go out to do the carnival, but the one thing for me that I love is the food fair. Why? Because there are things that you don't get on a regular basis: the spices, the seasonings, the sweets. And today we have a phenomenal guest. He is the one that is truly behind the scenes, that's creating the harvest so we can have those sweets and those seasoning and those treats. Without further ado, we're going to dive in. But before we dive into our special guest, let's see a clip from our sponsors to say thank you, sponsors, for having us here at Let's Talk About You. Thank you, Kiki Creations and Infinitely Me, for sponsoring and Let's Talk About You. It is just great to have you be a part of this phenomenal show. And without further ado, let's talk to the man that's behind the scenes of making things happen. One of St. Thomas' best farmers, Mr. Trenton Benjamin. Hey, Trent, welcome to Let's Talk About You. Thank you for saying yes.
Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to one and all. Happy Sunday to you,
Yes,
Camilla.
happy Sunday. So I know you as Trent. I know your name is Trenton, but tell our listening audience, those that don't know who you are, just a snippet about yourself before we get into the interview.
Good afternoon again to everybody. Happy Sunday. My name is Trenton Benjamin. That's my name, real name, full name. Most people know me as Trent, which is okay, just a shortened form of Trenton. So I accept it, I take it, it's part of me still. Um, hey, what must I say? I'm not really, well, a known farmer out there like most people say. I be like that. Like Camilla said, I'm one of the best farmer. I don't know if I fall in that category, but I, do my thing and do it to the best of my ability, and make everybody happy with whatever I do.
Well, as you said, you do the best that you could do, and that's what makes you the
Yeah,
best, because you do your
yeah.
best that you can. But tell us a bit
All right.
about your farm and your crops. And do you have livestock? Tell us a little bit about your farm.
Um, yeah, livestock. Yes. Well, chickens, and not a lot of chickens right now. But the chickens are more just what must I say? They're just there to be there because I don't use them as part to say bring in an income or anything. But away from that, I mainly do crop farming, plant stuff like short crops, beans, peppers, pumpkins, cucumbers, watermelons. I do grow stuff that take a while to grow, like turmeric, ginger, you know. And right now, presently now, since I do some fencing and to keep away the dares, I start planting some sweet potatoes. So hopefully, in the near future, I should be able to reap some and everybody will get a chance to taste some local sweet potatoes.
Well, that sounds good.
Now,
How
uh,
long have you been farming?
a very long time. um, it's more like a passion. Um, since we grew up doing it, with your parents, and then in school, there's you learn about agricultural science, not just agriculture, more agricultural science. So you get deeper into it, where you learn the real intricate part of it, where the plane, where so in the science part of it, you get to understand, like, well, I should put it. Let me put it quick and easy. In the science part, you get to understand, the way things are being done, the way a plant is growing, certain type of disease, what to expect, what to do. You could also plant other crops that could help you, fertilize the soil at the same time. Like, for example, beans, they put nitrogen in the soil, can't take it out. So I don't know if you will come across, you see corn and bean growing together. It's like a combination. One depend on the other. So it's, in the scientific part of it, you get to learn a lot more and get deeper into it and know how to treat pests in a natural way or the conventional way, whichever you choose to do.
So you said that
So
it is more of a passion. So where and
yeah,
you started as a child. So your
yeah.
inspiration came from the fact that you had to do it growing up, or your parents started gauge you on the way, or that was the way of your livelihood growing up.
Well, I would say more of the livelihood growing up is like, it was part of your growing up, part of your culture, part of your upbringing, that you had to go and be part of it. And the fun part about it is that it keep you to stay focused because it's a way of, I must say, separating you from, how should I put it, from more of a fast pace to slow it down in a slower lane, if that's what you want to say it. And so you got a chance to focus and really understand and analyze things as you go along. But yes, it was part of my growing up. And it's something
I
that,
can
huh? Sorry.
I can see that with the focus, but go ahead. I can see that with the focus because it takes
Yeah,
a long time for things to grow. It's not a quick
yeah,
overnight thing. It's a
exactly,
process. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see that. So with your because you started then, and so many things has happened, and I know that you started in St. Kitts, and now you're here in the Virgin Islands, and life has changed. What made you hold on to that piece of you from then, the farming
Well,
aspect?
I would more go back and say, since it was part of my growing up, I didn't want to really run away from my culture, my upbringing. So I choose to, continue in that way. It's because when you look at farming period here, you don't really make big bucks out of it to say, well, that's your whole livelihood. So it's more like a passion, hard work because of the terrain, different stuff you gotta get involved in. I would compare and say this that farming there in St. Kitts is much easier than farming here, based on the land, the soil, and everything that's there. Because here the soil is very clay. In St. Kitts, the soil is loose and fertile. So it gives you a better, and it's flat land. So you got an opportunity to go fast and do more. Here you probably would have to build a terrace, maybe move some rocks if you want to really make roads, whatever you choose to do. It's a little bit more of a challenge as compared to there. So I will, continuing with it is just more of a passion and just fall in line the right way.
Well, I love that you held on to the passion. So, and let's get back to the part about focus, because I know that my dad, he loves
Yeah,
dibble dabbling in the garden, but he has been doing that from the beginning of time. And now we're in a new
yes,
place. He's still creating his
yes,
avenue to create crops and grow stuff. And and it's great to have food from the garden to the table, because that too is so important, especially in this day and age, because we want everything so quick. And as you said, with
Yes,
focus, there's a process. It's not an overnight thing, but you reap the rewards of being tranquil, going slow, and seeing what it is that you created. I like that.
yes.
What is the most important skills or needed to be a farmer, especially here, because you said it was easier in St. Kitts than here because of the terrain and so forth. But what are some of key factors of being uh, a farmer here? And then we're going to show some of your great crops that you do on the terrains.
Well, key factors, I would say mainly it's commitment. And if you're not committed, I mean, I don't think that anything else would get you to reach where to actually focus on what you're doing to grow the crops that you needed. So I would say commitment. I think that's the greater part right there. You got to be committed because being a farmer, backyard gardener, because I would consider myself a backyard gardener if you look at it that way. It's something that you have to be doing every day. You got to keep on it. So it's like commitment, you know. It's like building a relationship with the farm or the plants that you're growing. So commitment is the big thing right there. And if you're not committed, I mean, I would tell anyone, anybody, it don't make sense mess with it if you're not committed because anybody could plant and grow stuff. Most people would tell me, "Oh, I don't grow things because anything I touch die." That's just that's just something in the mind. I personally feel if they put their mind to it and plant it and be committed to that plant that they plant that was planted before, they would see the end result. So commitment all around. I would say commitment.
I agree with you with that, because I was one of those people that would say I don't grow anything. I don't
Yeah.
have that green thumb factor. But recently, I've been growing things, so I agree.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Commitment,
That's good.
commitment.
Well, I'm happy
So
that you're able to
I
grow
mean,
something.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But speaking about growing things, I just want to show our listening audience some of the fruit of your labor. Let's look at some of the crops, the things that you have grown, and tell us a little bit about it, because we're in April, and in a couple weeks we're going to be celebrating Carnival, and one of the factors is food fair. And with food fair, people come from near and far to find things they don't usually see. And I know that they come to your booth to see some of these great items. Look how beautiful that foliage is. So tell us, you
Yeah.
could start anyway. Just pick a picture and tell us about what that is and the process, or how long it's taken. Because I see some beds. I don't want to start calling names, but I
Okay.
see
Let's
beds and I
let's
see
let's
parsley, and
let's
I
let's
don't know
start.
anything.
Let's start with the beds. Really. I usually okay. Most people here farm. They use terraces. But I like to use rows, furrows, whichever you want to call them, because it's easier for me. And seeing that I'm not there full time, I only go there maybe an hour, 2 out of the day. Give me an opportunity to focus on a specific area and get that, the way I want it to be in order for me to get it planted and get it going. So I like to do rows. Going back to what you're seeing, the one that look like cabbage, that's bok choy, and those are easy to grow. They're very nutritious, healthy for you. Stuff you could just pick and chop them up and saute them and make a quick dish, something to make your family happy. See, with
But
the
how
one
long does the bok
that's
choy take to grow? You said it's easy. What is
that's
easy?
bok choy. I would sit here and tell you a bok choy from the seed to the table, from the seed to the shelves, whichever you want to say, roughly 8 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks. You should be getting it ready, looking like what you have it there. Again, with
That's
commitment, dedication, and hard work going to it. You should get it right there. Now,
well,
in
that looks
terms
nice
of
and
string
happy.
beans, Yeah, like string beans in 6 weeks, seven after you plant them, 6 weeks after, you should be able to be picking string beans. As you could see, you go with them. Stuff like celery and thing, I would say, depends on the size how you want to cut it, because you could keep cut them all the time. If you have them planted, ready for you to use. Everything again based on conditions and time. And sometimes in growing stuff, you have challenges that you come about, whether it's the weather, whether it's bugs, whether it's rodents, cows, deers, pigs, anything, chickens, the human beings too. They could be a great problem to you sometimes.
These string beans look so yummy. I mean, and these you
Yeah,
grew in
yeah.
on
Those are
your
string beans that I grow.
property,
Yeah, yeah.
and these are some of the things that you sell that will be coming up on Food Fair,
Yes, yes, I do
correct?
sell them. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna pause, but I'm just going to show our listening audience my plate here. Look at the size of these cucumbers. Look at this. It's almost the size of my beautiful face. And these are also from Trent's Garden. I mean, I was blessed with these, and I was like, I have to share these with our listening audience. Now, I know cucumbers don't take a long time to grow, but tell us about these beautiful crops here before you continue with what it is that they're seeing on the screen. Tell us about these.
You know, I must say that to you. Those cucumbers that you have right there in your hand now, I plant them the last week of February. I start planting them, preparing and planting them the last week of February until maybe until like the 7th of March or so, the first week of March. So they don't take too long before they're ready because again, cucumbers, once they start running, maybe about 18 inches long, they start putting on flowers and bearing. So these are stuff that you could, you know, you could go after them as cash crops because they bear pretty fast. And
Yeah,
those
I
type
had
of
to tell my
cucumbers are
dad
the
he
local
couldn't have any
cucumbers.
today.
Yeah. No, you
He was
should give
like,
him
"Oh,
one.
he's like, this cucumber look good. Let's cut into it." And I was like, "No, no, no, no. After
Yeah.
my show, we can cut into them."
Yeah. I see you
So
have a
let's talk.
picture
Let's
there
get
where
back to what our audience is seeing on the screen. So you have some
yeah,
more beds here
the
of spices and seasonings.
okay. The one on the right side of me there, those are thyme slips, cuttings. So I grow the thyme from cuttings. I don't use the seed. I just snip a piece and I plant it. That's how I grow them. And then on top there, those are these same ones you're looking at, that's them on the top right now. Those I sold for the Carnival Food Fair last year. So that's them inside the pot up there right now, ready to be sold.
Okay. So let our audience know, and more so me. So you're saying that is there a specific way when you're cutting it to be planted, or you just cut anywhere and stick it into the ground, or you could just break it off and stick it in? Educate us. How does that process work?
I'm gonna say this way. I don't have no specific way to plant them or cut them. I would just go and choose a plant and just start snipping, throw them in the palm of my hand, and then sometimes in one hand I have the cuttings, and in the next hand I'm mixing up the soil and putting it in the pot and I'm planting them. So I wouldn't sit here and say it's a specific way. Maybe somebody might have a specific way. Maybe a agronomist or somebody might sit and tell you that's a specific way to do it. I'm doing it wrong, but I know the way I do it is I see success from it. So I wouldn't sit
We
and say
all
it's a
see the
specific way.
success.
Yeah.
Yes, we
So
all see the success.
it's no
Those look
specific
so
way about it.
happy.
Yeah.
Those
Thank
look
you.
happy. And what are those beds? Are those beds the beginning forms of the time? Is that what those are?
Yes. Those are the times in stages. The smaller ones you see, that's maybe like a couple of weeks after I plant them. And then the one on the top is when they're ready to bloom, ready to cut or ready to market, whichever you choose to do to them.
Gotcha. Crystal, you know your thing by putting these together. Let's look at the next set.
You're looking at green onions right now.
Mm. So
And those again, uh,
tell us what is it that you do with those green onions? You stick them in, you mix it up with your soil.
yeah,
Because
those I
I
plant
tried
straight
growing the
in the
green onions
beds.
and it didn't work for me. So I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I didn't mean to speak over you. I tried
sorry, that's
cutting the
okay.
green onions and sticking them back in because it's supposed to root. It hasn't worked for me yet. So tell me what I need to do.
It had roots on it and the green
I
onion.
think
Did it have
so.
roots on the bulb and the end? You think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, some green onions are not bunching onions. Some are just, they will just go straight all the time. So you got to keep cutting them and they just stay like that. Some of the ones I grow is bunching ones. So I would split them in single ones and just plant them and then eventually they would bunch out again. Just like grass, you plant a piece of guinea grass and later on you get a big bunch of grass. So those are bunching ones.
That's
You're
what
looking
I'm
at
looking at.
the, huh?
No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I
We're
wouldn't
looking
say
at.
you're doing anything wrong with what you're planting. I think you should just try it until you get it because one thing you must do is make note to your own self, whether you write it down or you make a mental note. Hey, I did this way, this time around it didn't work. Let me try it the next way. You understand? So it's like also in farming, in planting, you got to teach yourself to. You got to learn to do stuff your own self because everybody do things different. Somebody else might tell you a next way how to do it, which is not the wrong way. It probably is a right way because that's the way how they know it and that's the way they get it done. So you could do things a little different too sometimes. So I would advise you or anybody, the listening audience, sorry, on this Sunday afternoon to make a mental note to yourself. It's
So, what are your
important
some
to
of
do
your
that.
daily tasks? I know you say you spend 1 hour a day, and within
Well,
that hour, what are your daily tasks?
within the hour, it could be either watering them, weeding them up, like plucking out the weeds, because a weed is considered something that's not planted in the right area. So, for example, between those green onions, I might have thyme. Let's say, for example, thyme pop up in there. The thyme is a weed because I didn't plant the thyme. They plant the green onion. So that's what weed would be considered in my book. That's the way it is. So I would, go ahead and pluck out the weeds and mold them up. And sometimes, just look around, observe and see if I had any visitors. Visitors could be bears, iguanas, the human beings by the footstep. They leave the print behind sometimes. So within that hour is a lot to do, a lot of focusing, a lot of paying attention. You must pay attention to your surroundings once you farm it.
Okay, let's go back to where you say weed. So, when if the thyme grows over into the onions, you consider that a weed?
If it's not planted there, like if I made a bed, if you want, let's use a bed for example, because a terrace. Let's say I make a terrace, and for whatever reason time spring up there. If not time, let's say some string beans spring up between the green onions or the bok choy or the peppers, whatever I planted. Those would be considered weeds because I didn't plant them. A weed is something that's not growing where you want it to grow. Even though it's valuable stuff, it's something important to me too. But then it could create a problem, so I would have to plug it out because I'll be competing with the plants that I plant. So I don't want that, the competition. So I have to avoid the competition, so I would pluck them out. So it's not just a grass, a tantan tree, a casa tree, or anything. Not moringa, the wild neem plant them because they're very aggressive too. They're blood of seeds all over and just keep popping up all the time. So it's not just one of those things. Sorry.
I got you. Let's look at the next slide.
One second. I have to get it.
Aren't these beautiful? I don't know what these gorgeous things are, but I know that Trenton is going to tell us about it. And if you guys need to find out more information, just put your comments down. We definitely will get back to you with regards to the ins and outs of um, planting. And as he said, he considers himself more of a gardener than a farmer. But as you can see, the crop is so beautiful. They look happy, they look joyous, and they look like they're ready to eat right this second. So I was telling our listening audience of how happy and joyous they are and how people can reach you. So the things that you showed us before, the time, and we know that you'll be having your table set forth for food fair. But other than food fair, how can people reach out to you to get some of what you provide?
They could reach me at my number 340-626-6055. They could leave a message or text me and just let me, ask me what I have available. I will tell them what I have available, and if they want it, we go from there. So three four
Tell
zero
us
six
about
two
what.
six 6055. Sorry.
Let's see what's going on here. What tell us what it is that we have here? These beautiful
Okay, the
flowers. Well,
flow,
they look
the
edible.
the flowers, yeah, they're well. I don't know if they're edible, but the flowers you're looking at is actually coffee flowers, coffee beans, coffee that you drink, coffee. Yeah, I get a plant from my coworker, and when the blooms like that, so all the flowers that you're seeing, that's what the beans would be and go around it. The picture when I took the picture, it had a lot of bees in it, but having so when I took it, the bees had flown away already. The one picture you're looking at below, if is believe it or not, is a banana passion fruit, but I yet to see it bear. It just keep growing, 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 growing. As the first I grow it, um, I actually someone who gave the slip to me. So it's a banana passion fruit, but I haven't seen it bear yet. Maybe because
Ex-
the drought, the hot
Break
sun we
that
had
down
the
for
other
me.
day.
Banana
Huh?
passion fruit.
That's what they call
Break
it.
that
I have
down.
never seen. I've never seen the fruit in bear on the tree, but that's what they told me it is. It is a banana passion fruit. You notice it look different to the local passion fruits, right? The leaves. If you know a passion fruit leaf, you notice it look different. Yeah. So it's a banana passion fruit, but I yet to see it bear passion fruit on it. So I'm hoping it would bear someday. On
Well,
top
I
there
hope
is
so too.
yeah, I'm hoping it would bear. I'm I mean, I'd be really excited, and happy when I see it put on a fruit on it, but I monitor it all the time and I haven't seen none on it. But in the early stage of it, I had an issue with the iguanas. They keep eating it down. So it's just recently they give it a break, so it start catching itself again. So let's hope that they leave it forever and ever. Amen. And that'll be a good thing for me. Above is rosemary. Sorry. Rosemary too. I do them from cuttings the same way and part them out. Right now I'm trying to grow rosemary like that for sale because there are a few people who approach me because they use it in making marby. So a few marby makers approached me and said I would like to get rosemary. So I'm starting to plant them like that right now. Now the good thing about the rosemary and stuff, the iguanas, the dares, they don't mess with it. So that's a plus. They
Well,
don't go and eat
you
it.
Mobby makers, as you can see, Trent makes he's growing the rosemary for your juices, and you need the juices for the next couple weeks coming up. When exactly is
Yeah.
food fair?
Food fair is the 1st of May. That's
Okay,
like a week,
so
a week and a half from now or so. Yeah.
yeah, so you definitely will be getting calls for people to make their marbies. Now these yummy things. Now this is what I know the passion fruit and the
Yeah,
spices and the
that's
drink.
that's a passion fruit. Yeah, yeah. That one on top is hot pepper. I mean, on the top there you could see those peppers are hot peppers, red hot peppers. The yellow ones are passion fruits from a tree I had there, and below is sorrel. I mean, most people see sorrel at Christmas time, but there is a type of sorrel now that basically bears all year round. 3 months after you plant it, they're ready to flower and bloom. But I've grown them throughout the year, and one thing I've noticed with it, I don't know if anybody would have been listening would have the same experience. They don't be as bountiful as when they grow around Christmas time, you know. But the ones that grow throughout the year, they would bear, but they would be a little bit more smaller, you know. Like for something about it, I don't know if it's the daylight timing or anything like that, because around Christmas is the shorter days where, the short days, and I think that's what they need mostly. But throughout the year, they have a specific type. I think they call it the midnight. I don't know if that type is developed in St. Croix or St. Kitts. I don't know exactly where that breed came from, but I know they have them on both islands.
Okay, that looks yummy. Let's move on to the next set of slides. And coming from your
So,
pepper, and look what I got.
yeah. So the peppers that I grow, I take them to make hot sauce, which, that's something again I learned from my mother, making hot sauce. I grew up with her making hot sauce, so it's something I learned, pay attention to, and to the stage where when I growing up, my mother used to just make just hot sauce just with pepper only. But now I try to flavor it by doing different flavors. I do mango, I do passion fruit. That's what I use a lot with my passion fruits. Um, I do pineapple, the mango, the passion fruit, the pineapple, and I also do bananas too, banana peppers. So I try to do different flavors, because if you look at it, hot sauce is in the top 10 of tourism product when you really do that
Yes.
research. Yeah, they're in the top 10 of tourism product. And most people would feel like the tourists is only the ones who come on the boat, but they got to realize the tourists is our own people too who come back and forth. So I consider them a tourist, because you get a lot of calls. People tell you, hey, I'm in town, I need some hot sauce. What you got? And you go ahead and you meet with them and you sell them, from there you go
So do
along
you
with
do
it.
a hot sauce year round, or is it just during this time of year?
Once the pepper is available, I need to grow more pepper so I could have it more like I could say, well, every day, all the time. But once the pepper is available, I do it. And usually I try to group my pepper, I grow the peppers for them to be available around this time. So it's two fair I really take part in is the Carnival Food Fair and the fair in Bordeaux in January. So mostly around that time, I got them available.
And one thing that I do love about your peppers, you're so transparent with letting everybody know all the great ingredients that's in it. And it's I love this. I love this. I have two here and I have one in the office. So I truly am a supporter of the hot sauces. And it's not too hot, but it's just the right amount of heat. I love it.
Thank you. Well,
Let's go.
you want to be as transparent as possible because you don't want anybody to have a allergic reaction. For example, somebody may not use a good example, pineapple. Somebody might say they're allergic to pineapple. You put pineapple in your hot sauce and they use it and then they get that allergic reaction. So at least you let
Mhm.
them know what's inside, let them make that decision and go from there. So I do believe in
Absolutely.
allowing people to know that. The next picture you're looking at is star fruit. They usually get bigger than that. They're sweet too. But with the weather, they were really small that crop that year. But there's so much little bear on it that I just took the picture. Sometimes I just go ahead and take a picture of the fruits that's growing.
Well, I'm
So you
glad
can
that you
look
do
back at
because you
them.
have to keep stock of what you have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's go on to the next one. Okay, I guess that we went through every last one. I didn't realize we got through them so quickly. Now, Trent, now we're in a day of modern technology and things have changed. Have you incorporated anything from modern technology into what you're doing with your, I say farming, you say gardening, but with what you do?
Yes, I do. I do attend workshops. 2 years ago, attend hydroponic aquaculture course in St. Croix at the university in St. Croix. By the way, the university in St. Croix, for what I know, have one of the best program in this Western Hemisphere when it comes to hydroponics aquaculture. So I did attend a short course. When I did that course a few years back, well, had a few doctors in that same program, and it was interesting to listening to them, the things they would tell you, and the way this is going and everything like that. So it was an interesting program. As in terms like going back to technology, like you said, growing up, we never did drip irrigation. You know, Now I introduced that to my farm, my garden. I do that. I also the university extension. They might have one or two workshops that I attend, and I don't want to sound that way, but some of them is kind of redundant because it's something I already learned in high school. So to see that they're telling you no, you go with it. So because there is a agricultural, like I said, in school I didn't learn, they didn't teach us agriculture, they teach us agricultural science. So in school we had an agricultural science book that, I I keep telling people, I mean, to me that's the Bible because that book back then it tells you a lot that even going on today. It talks about, I mean, the big word most people jump off to organic farming. It talks about different stuff, even go deep into the economical part of farming, where you could make and how you should plant them, the size, and telling you, for example, from maybe 2 acres of land, for example, if you grow peppers, you should be able at the end of the season reap X amount of thousands of pounds of peppers and different stuff. So again, I believe in the scientific part of it, but more so on the natural way, our wave, that's what you want to call it, more on a local level. But it's great. So I do follow up and read up and pay attention to what's changing now in the agricultural world because it benefits all of us. And I believe in feeding my own self and feeding others the same way.
Yes, and the one thing that you said that is key, especially now, and not just for. I know that I'm here talking about the things you do in preparation for food fair and the other fairs that you do locally, but it's really from garden to table. And one thing that is thrown around so much so is organic. They like to slap that tag on every single thing.
It's
This is
just a word.
organic, and
I
that is
mean,
organic.
I would
Yeah.
sit, sorry to cut you off, but I would sit here and tell anybody it's just a word that somebody create to make money from. Because if you go back and you talk to your father, his grandfather, his parents, my parents, their parents, you know, before us, the way they used to farm was the same way now that somebody come and put it on paper and call it organic for a promotional part and raise the price on them. So that's the way they used to farm. That was their style. To me, it's a traditional way of farming. So they call it organic. Like somebody will come by my farm and see what I do, and they would sit and they would say, "Oh, he farming organically or whatever the case is." But somebody else now write it, put it on a paper, put a seal on it. You know the word, a seal that you can prove. And then the way organic going now is that on my same plot, I could grow stuff naturally and grow stuff conventionally. And then a certifying officer would come and certify me as an organic farm. So I don't believe in that. You can't grow the two of them on the same plot and then you tell me it's organic. So I mean that's my opinion, and somebody else might disagree with me. Sorry if I hurt anybody feeling, but that's my opinion.
Well, I second your opinion because I do believe what it is that you're doing is the true organic way of doing. What my father has done is the true organic way
Exactly.
of doing things
Yeah.
because you're literally putting in the work. You're not putting a quick fix. And like you said, it creates patience and um, you go through the whole thing. It's not a quick fix. It takes 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks for the cucumber. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for the other produce for it to grow. It's not a quick thing. And when now, because we have a growing population, everybody wants something now for now. So because it may come from the ground, they do add all these other additives. That's what I think. And then they put organic on it because it came from the ground, but they put all that other things to germinate fast growth, which is nonsense.
Well, yeah, and most people would rather go the conventional way because, again, when you grow crops, you have challenges. I do have challenges growing my crops. I mean, the pictures I take is the good ones, but sometimes you grow stuff and the bugs, whether it's the slugs, the butterflies, the caterpillars, different stuff, the aphids, you get a lot of challenges that they just wipe out your whole crop. You just have to go with it, the dares, the iguanas. So there are challenges all around. Now, in the conventional style, for example, in the seed have everything to preserve it. You have the fertilizer, you have the insecticide, the herbicide. Everything is inside that same seed. So when they plant it, of course, it grow bloom big and nice without they doing anything to it. So they drop the seed, and the next thing is just to reap it. But in the way that we do it, the natural way is that you gotta be behind it, you're behind it, you're behind it, to follow it. So it's a fast process, just like you said. We
So
want
ways
it for
that you
now.
overcome your challenges is to start over, is what you're saying?
Yes, most of the time, 90% of the time, I have to start over. You just pull them up and get rid of them. Sometimes I just like, I remember having a crop kale and
We're here talking with Trenton Benjamin. He is talking about the ways of growing things here locally, at least what he does on his farm. He considers himself a gardener, but we know he's a farmer. We've seen great pictures of his crop, his produce, and his spices. I mean, he does things like making pepper and growing cucumber. And we have his number and his contact information of ways that we can reach out to him in the event of anyone needing to get stuff for their everyday use. So we know that food fair is coming up later on the first of, I think the first or the 2nd of May, he mentioned. And during food fair, everything that are, can we put up some of the pictures that he grows, these things will be afforded for sale. He has the spices, he has the peppers, he has the cucumbers, he has the rosemary, he has the bok choy. I mean, just so many different things that are used throughout the time, not just for food fair or just not just for the agricultural fair that happens in January, but a year round. He works to make sure that his crop is healthy. He works to overcome all the challenges like the slugs and the animals, and he just brings forth a great, great harvest. Go ahead, Trent, and continue to tell us. I was telling our listening audience about all the things that you
oh, sorry.
overcome to bring forth such a beautiful harvest, not just for food fair and not just for the ag fair in January, but all year round. You work in your, you say garden, I say on your farm, to bring forth such a beautiful crop.
Yes. Like I say, you can reach me at 340-626-6055. You can leave a message or text message. Just let me know. Ask me what I have available. Whatever I have available, I will tell you, and we just go from there. If you need it, I get it to you. Wherever you are, St. Thomas is only this big, so I should be able to reach anybody in any area, Even in St. John, I mean, if that's the case, I could reach them too, That could organize, that could arrange, so. And I do have a lot of clients from St. John too, so I'm not forgetting the St. Johnians. They do support me well, especially at the border fair. There's a group of ladies that come down and they always come and look for me. I mean, all the years they come, I yet to know one of them name. I don't know their name, but I just know their face when I see them. So those are the St. Jonian ladies. You know, they always come and support me, and I give thanks for them all the time.
In
As a
addition
matter of
to
fact,
the
I thank
fairs, I know that
everybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
in addition to the fairs, I know there's a Bordeaux fair and then there's food fair. How do you market your things regularly? Because you seem busy all the time. You're going. And I know you have to go to make sure what you're providing is healthy. But how do you market your stuff?
There are a few clients. I have a few clients that it doesn't matter what I have. I just need to deliver it to them. They would accept it. They would take it. So they always would tell me, bring it. Whatever they need. Um, there were one or two restaurants or small shops around that people that I service, I would sell them stuff. I might sell them beans, whatever available, stuff like that. So I do get them sell. It's not a problem getting sell. It's like an open market, It's like a demand for food, Sometimes it's like sometimes you don't have enough, you just have all we have available, we gone. One person could buy out your whole stock. I mean, that's how serious it gets sometimes. So
That's
it's
good
not
that
a
one person
problem.
could
I
buy
don't
it
I
for
don't
both
think it's an
families.
issue or a problem selling them, It's easy to sell. I don't go to the
Well,
market because it's time, but time consuming a little bit on my behalf. But I do plan to go there in the near future.
okay, well, that's good to know. But let me ask
Yeah,
you also, because you said that one person could buy out your stock, and in this day of being eating better, because people I think
yeah,
are paying more attention to what they eat. There was a phase that
yeah,
we didn't have a choice because you had to grow your food to eat.
yeah.
So we I can't say we passed that, but we I
What?
think we're coming around full circle to people are paying attention to, so they want to grow their food, and if not, they're farmers slash gardeners like you that provide that. What are some of the tips that you can give our listening audience of creating that healthy space of, even if they start small, ideas of things they could start small with that will be beneficial to them, because the better we eat, the better we feel, and let our food be our medicine and our medicine be our food type of thing.
Okay, before I answer that, let me just say this. When I say one person could buy out my stock, I mean like a business establishment. Like you have
Okay,
this, like a restaurant. They would tell me, hey, listen, we need all of these. Just keep bringing them to us. So I would just concentrate on them alone. So that's what I mean when I say that. Now, as in terms
gotcha.
of you growing your own thing, I think, it's a easy and a cheap process. You could go to any store, plant store around. I mean, I ain't gonna call no name to say promoting anyone. You buy your soil, but I would advise anybody that if the soil you buy from the plant store, a good idea is to mix some of the soil with the topsoil you have around you, the local soil, because the soil you have around you having the micronutrients that the plant looking for. The soil you buy from the plant store, it's more like must say it's when you eat some food and you say that ain't taste good at all, ain't got no salt in it, ain't got this or whatever, something like that. You don't have any nutrients, all of it. Even though the bag might mark on organic soil, you gotta be careful. So I would advise anybody, if you get it, you could mix it, and you could go half and half. If you got half a flower pot with the potting soil, you could put half of the topsoil, mix it. It's your choice, however you choose to mix it. Or you could learn how to mix it by, going a process on your own and learn your own self. So it's like teaching yourself to do it. That's something easy. So it doesn't matter if you live in a condo too. You could grow your own thing. You could grow it on a porch, in a flower pot. So once you get that going, you plant whatever you choose to grow. Now there are some plants that need full sunlight. Some don't need full sunlight. So I would advise anybody right now, like for example, you say can't get the green onions grow. I would tell you from now you should start growing them, because if you cook a lot, the green onion help you because It would save you from going to the store. You could just go out and cut it off. When it's in your fridge, you're not used to you. It just rot fast, withers away, whichever the choice is. So I would tell you, you could start off growing stuff like simple stuff like seasoning. You could grow a collard greens, bok choy, kale. If you make your smoothie, that you could pluck the leaves every day and put in your smoothie. Start off by growing stuff. Start small and just learn and teach yourself as you get bigger and deeper into it. So you don't have to go out and clean up your whole backyard and get into it because when you see a big space, you get discouraged into it. Like, hey, I gotta do all this work by myself. No, you don't want that. You kind of catch a smaller area and just concentrate from there, and you go, piece by piece, little by little. You know, could do it as a group, a family. You know what I mean? Friends, neighbors get together. A church. I don't know. The school. One thing I must say here, as you go around, is that I think that in the school system, I would task the university extension service with something like this slash the department. I think they need to do more pilot programs, get the kids involved, get the community involved. It don't have to be the kids that could do community stuff. Just like you say, you had challenges with your onion. They might have a agronomist on board who could tell you the green onion, sorry. They might have a agronomist on board who could tell you exactly why it died, what you did wrong, what you did right, apart from you learning on your own. So I would like to see more pilot programs, and stuff. I mean, that too, I think would be a great help throughout the community because we tend to learn from kids. Because if my son come home growing something, I may not be interested in planting, but because he's interested in it, I start learning with him, and there goes the collaboration, and we get onto something great. So I think pilot programs is a great way to kind of heal the wound that we got running away from us right now.
Well, I definitely will reach out to Extension Services. I know, for me
Well,
personally, I have reached out to them,
I, I hope I
and
didn't
they
put
have
them on the
come.
spot really,
No, you
because
didn't
I
put
mean
them on
they
the
too
spot
have
because
a
I'm going to say,
they too have a sorry to cut you off. They too have a school of agriculture, and I'm very much surprised that they don't have pilot program, but yet still they're recruiting students to go to the school. I mean, that's let's leave that one alone.
well, I will say this. I do know they do come to your homes because they've come to my home and they have done a survey and given me advice and things that I should grow, and they've given me slips of plants to grow and so forth. So they do that. I will attest to that because they've done that for me. I called them, they came, they
That's great.
surveyed and told me what was best for my type of soil and my terrain because I have a terrain. So they do come out and tell you that. You just have to give them a call. So I can
Uh,
attest to that part. But
well,
I
I'm
want
happy to
us
hear that.
to have
Uh,
more of these things like this. And I like your advice, even if you live in a condo and an apartment, there's some foods that may need some sunlight, but you can use your windowsill so you can create these. Because even though this is a vine, you can still grow a cucumber inside, correct?
yes, yes, yes. Once you get a sunlight, I mean, it doesn't need all 12 hours of sunlight, but once you get enough sunlight, it go like that. So, like, there are, how must I say, like the celery that we use, they don't need much sunlight. Actually, they could grow in the shade, stuff like that. You could grow them. And your same apartment, for decoration, you could plant some ginger in a pot and they bloom up, and in the end, you have a ginger. Somebody might come and visit you and be like, "Wow, these plants look nice," and you say, "Yeah, they look good, but they are ginger." And in the end, you could take the same ginger and use it, make tea, ginger beer, whatever you use ginger for. Turmeric, the same way you could do the same thing. So, you know, different things you could use. It don't have to be the full sun. You don't have to be out there, in the sun if you don't want to. But you could just do a little area. Start small and then teach yourself and grow into it. That's the way I look at it.
I agree. From the garden to the table, so we can
Yeah.
have great crops like these.
Thank
So,
you.
Trent, what
Yes.
advice, in addition to the advice that you gave to growing, and having it a family project, a school project, or even a church project, where do you see
Yeah.
your farm? Do you see it expanding in the next couple of years? Do you see you do more marketing to stores or so forth? Where do you see your venture going? Because I know you have more than a garden; you have a farm.
I could, yes, I agree with you. I see it expanding because right now in the process of completing fencing it up from the day. So once I get a fence up, I think I should be able to do a little bit more than what I'm doing now. As in terms of the stores, I wouldn't sit there and lie to the audience and tell them I could supply the stores. I think I would just be fooling myself and say that I could supply the store. I would sit here now and tell you I could more supply you as an individual, like I say, one or two small establishments I do sell stuff to. I could sit here and tell you I could supply them, but to say to go out there on the store shelves, I mean, I would be lying to the audience, and I don't want to lie, because it's Sunday and it's a day of church, so we don't want to lie to the people.
I love that. I love that you say because it's Sunday. So now
Yeah.
you started this venture as a child growing up, and now you're doing it here. What would you tell younger Trent about what's going on now?
There's a lot I would tell him. But one thing I would really tell him, in due time, whether I'm around or not, his kids, whoever he have to, teach or go on, I think that he should be able to learn how to feed himself, whether it's on a small scale, a large scale. I mean, at least feed himself with something, even if it's to just grow a lemongrass, piece of lemongrass that you could just go outside and clip it and make your tea or something. But that's what I would tell him, learn how to feed yourself. And I must say, my kids, my children, I mean, they come around with me and I never sit and really get into it. Like some people say, oh, you gotta learn, you must learn this, and this is the way you go. They come, they look and they observe, and sometimes I listen to them with their conversation and be like, really? Yeah, they really pay attention to what I say, or what they see me doing. So they know how to do it. They're fully aware of it. Trust me. Don't mind you see them act the way they are. If they just pretend they don't know, but they know a lot. Trust me, they do know a lot.
Oh, they
Because
do.
I don't hide
I
it
do
from them,
believe
you
that.
know?
I
Yeah,
do know.
yeah.
So in the week and a half, so I know that you gear up for the agricultural fair that happens in January at the Bodo Fair, and then for food fair that's in April. Where can we find you? Where would you be located so everyone can see? Let me check out what those pretty products that I saw on Let's Talk About You. Where can they find you?
So this for this carnival food fair, the fair is in Krongbe, as everyone know. For this year, when where Zanzibar is, the chimney, the windmill there in Krongbe.
The windmill,
I'm right
yes.
across. Yeah, I'm right across from it. So my back is facing the street. Now you will come now going down towards the tennis court to the old Whopper where we used to pay your light bill. So my back will be
Hmm.
facing the street. So right across from Zanzibar, and then that's where I'm at. Going towards the old where they used to at First Bank in that area. Once you come down
Yes.
that stretch, you'll find me right there. You can't miss me. Once you come, you would see me. I'll be right there, displaying my
Okay. Well,
product
I'm
and
looking forward to that.
it's ready.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will put my disclaimer in. I personally prefer food fair in the Emancipation Garden. I love parks, and I love when we gather there in Emancipation Garden. Crown Bay,
Okay.
it's just too far for me, but I love Emancipation. But I want our listening audience to go down, support our local farmers, support Trenton and the like, and get your fresh produce, your homemade hot sauces, your cucumbers, your rosemary, your thyme, all those sweet pepper and seasonings, those things that you don't get on a regular basis. He will have those. And he'll give you some pointers as he did here today so you can keep it going. How you can save those seeds from the hot pepper so you could grow your own even if you live inside. Trenton, it was a great educational conversation. I am so glad that you said yes to being a guest and let's talk about you. I truly appreciate you. Do you have any closing remarks for our listening audience today?
Yeah, well, I must say I gotta thank you for inviting me on your show, your program. I think it's a good showcase for me, you know. Also the listening audience, because most people just know me as just going like that. Some people until now that I look at my hands and they say, "You don't do no farming. I ain't see no mark on your hand." But I do, don't mind my hands. I do. So must say thank you for that, for inviting me on. In closing, I would say that everyone, I mean, and everybody would want to plan something, but I would encourage you to do something and don't afraid to ask a question. I mean, you don't have to call me to order something to say order and produce. You could call me and ask me a question to say, hey, you know what, I did this and this didn't happen. You could ask a question. If I could help you, assist you, I would tell you. So I would encourage everyone to do something. Try to learn to feed yourself because if the shipping lane shut off, we starve for a little bit. So please do
I
that.
agree.
You know.
I so
And
agree.
again, my
I don't.
number is 340-626-6055. So you could call, you could ask a question. You don't have to call if you want to order something only. So don't feel nowhere that you say, I don't think he gonna answer me because I ain't buying from him. I never buy from him. No, I don't move like that. I share the information all around because somebody share it with me, so I gotta pass it on. I ain't gonna keep it.
Thank
Okay.
you. Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Trenton Benjamin. Thank you, Kiki Creations and Infinitely Me, our lovely sponsors. You have a phenomenal rest of your Sunday and a blessed week. And I want each and every one of you to do what? Stay blessed on purpose. Thank you for joining us today.